This video is brought to you by my Etsy store, Adeline the Astrologer. Check it out for personalized Synastry chart readings and monthly transit tarot readings. Link in the description. Welcome everyone to the 13th Celebrity Synastry chart reading, where I will be looking into Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Adeline. I look at the dynamic between two celebrities using astrology, specifically Synastry. For those new and returning, I take notes on a Synastry chart, looking at the personal planet signs, aspects, and if birth time available, house overlays. I share these notes and add my extra insights and interpretations along the way. And of course, as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below and let's get a discussion going. So if that sounds good to you, like, subscribe, and keep on watching. Starting off with the sun, we have Nick's sun in Virgo and Priyanka's sun in Cancer. It's a moody relationship. They take care of each other. Nick can make Priyanka anxious. Nick doesn't understand Priyanka's sadness and they tend to irritate each other. We're off to a really good start. Nick's sun in Priyanka's 5th house. They have creative and fun dates. Priyanka enjoys the adoration from Nick. Priyanka has a great love for Nick. They desire to have children together. Nick defines beauty according to Priyanka. Nick may be overlooking Priyanka's flaws, so all the things we just saw in the beginning before how he doesn't understand her sadness and they tend to irritate each other, so it doesn't seem to bother him too much, those things. Characterized by luck and pleasure, and Nick sees Priyanka as a source of pleasure, so I'm glad this took a nice positive turn. Priyanka's sun in Nick's 12th house. They're different people, they have an atmosphere of mystery. Marriage is not possible. Hopefully we only see this once. They don't understand each other. It's interesting how we're already kind of seeing a lack of understanding of each other. Like, the last overlay is lovely, but like we saw at the very beginning, like they tend to irritate each other, and Nick, on Nick's end, he doesn't understand Priyanka. No idea why they're together. Perfect. Priyanka finds Nick unpredictable, probably why he makes her anxious. Priyanka sees Nick as exotic and strange. I assume this would have to be with the different cultures. Priyanka feels Nick doesn't approve of her. Relationship requires a lot of patience. I definitely see this because thus far it's a bit iffy. They seem to annoy each other. That requires patience to get over that, I imagine. Priyanka is attracted to Nick against her better judgment. Their suns are sextile to each other, so they get along, they're supportive of each other. Mutually beneficial relationship. Help with each other's self-esteem. I definitely see that because we saw before how like Priyanka seems to feel like very adored, and like especially with her feeling like he doesn't approve of her, it probably would help with her self-esteem that, someone she doesn't feel would approve of her, does approve of her, and overlooks her flaws and everything. They're comfortable and natural with each other, and both are willing to make the relationship work. Okay, this is going off to a good direction, I feel like. We saw some negatives and some iffy factors, but we're also seeing things to balance that out. They're patient with each other, or the relationship requires patience, but it seems like they're willing to have that patience and make this work, which is good. Nick's sun square Priyanka's Venus. Views on the world clash, not as promising as it looks. Yes, but I'm only saying that because I feel like the relationship does look very nice on the outside. Like, there's nothing particularly off about the relationship to the public eye, but I think what we're seeing thus far in this reading, I definitely see that because it's not all rainbows and daisies. Love can easily turn into hate, arguments over money. Nick is selfishly ambitious. Priyanka strives to keep the relationship balanced. Okay, so like them trying to make it work probably mostly comes from her then. Both hope to find what they are looking for in the other. Dude, I was saying, this seems to be off to an okay start, both negatives and positives balancing each other out. I'm regretting saying that. Nick's sun square Priyanka's Neptune. Misunderstandings. I'm not surprised. Delusions and deceptions. Gosh. They both glamorize each other. Attraction is based on appearance. We saw in the beginning how what Priyanka is Nick's type, or he is the definition of beauty to him. Priyanka promises more than gives. Nick believes Priyanka is a soulmate. Priyanka eventually disappoints Nick. and both need to be clear about expectations. Yeah, thus far, like, the vibe I'm getting is that neither of their intentions are the most honest or purest. Like, I don't want to say, like, their intentions are bad, but it seems to be just a bit iffy. I'm not feeling the greatest about this so far. Priyanka's sun, Sextile Nick's Mercury. They have similar interests. There's an intellectual friendship, able to work together. Maybe they have, I assume, kind of in the same career. They like to talk to each other, resolve problems easily, find it easy to share ideas. They're relaxed around each other. We did see before how they feel very comfortable and natural around each other. Priyanka wants to improve Nick, and Priyanka values Nick's intelligence. Priyanka's sun square Nick's Venus, so this is a repeated aspect, just inverted. So Priyanka is selfishly ambitious, and Nick strives to keep their relationship balanced, and all the previous factors are emphasized here as well. I find it interesting, both are selfishly ambitious in this relationship. Like, what are they getting out of this relationship, though, is my question. No offense to either of them, but they don't, as far as I know, they're not like the biggest celebrities out there. Like, they're, not the least popular, but there's definitely a lot more popular ones out there, so I'm not sure. Maybe it doesn't have to do with work. Probably some other thing. Priyanka's sun sextile Nick's Jupiter. Priyanka energizes Nick. They're good travel companions. Nick is generous with Priyanka. Mutual respect remains after end. They both want to make each other happy. I see that, like, both want to keep the relationship balanced. Nick opens up new doors for Priyanka, so maybe this is where Priyanka is selfishly ambitious. I wonder what it's going to be on his end. Nick boosts Priyanka's confidence. I don't really see that. Like we were saying before, she seems to, I don't want to say straight up say she feels insecure, but, she does feel like, what was it that he was, like, out of her league or something? Sorry, she feels that Nick doesn't approve of her, but he seems to be very, like, accommodating and sort of very patient with her and overlooking her flaws. Nick frequently gives Priyanka the benefit of the doubt, so yeah, that's where it comes from, I would say. Like, he overlooks her flaws, like, puts up with her. I won't say puts up with her, but is patient with Priyanka's sun, Trine Nick's Pluto. Transformative, it's a productive relationship. Potential for great chemistry, yeah, I see that. Like, especially on Nick's end, he's very attracted to her. Priyanka also seems to be attracted to him. They're fascinated with each other. I definitely see this from Priyanka's end, seeing Nick as someone exotic and strange. Both want to get to know each other deeply. Nick inspires Priyanka to dramatically transform herself. So now we're on to Moonus. So we have Nick's moon in Taurus and Priyanka's moon in Gemini. Nick thinks Priyanka is too imaginative. Priyanka finds Nick's nurturing appealing, so okay, that's nice. Like, he seems to be a bit of a more nurturing person. That's probably his way of keeping their relationship balanced. Nick is uncomfortable with Priyanka's need for constant change. This is probably why they tend to irritate each other. Nick can be too touchy for Priyanka. This is interesting because, like, I would assume, like, she feels like her confidence is boosted and she, like, would appreciate Nick being very, like, he seems to, like, really like her, be affectionate with her, be patient with her and everything. Everyone has their limits. Nick's moon overlay in Priyanka's 12th house. There's a lack of trust. I can't say I'm surprised. Nick feels that Priyanka is hiding something. Priyanka senses Nick's suspicions. No logical base for this lack of trust and paranoia, and difficult for them to deal with wounded feelings. Already, I was already saying this in the beginning, this reading is difficult, I have to say it. Priyanka's moon overlaid in Nick's 11th house. Priyanka sees Nick as the dream person, so we're seeing this element, like, both of them see each other as, like, soulmate, a dream person. Priyanka feels at ease around Nick. I'm not surprised. Like, this is the one thing, honestly, that's good in this relationship thus far. Like, she seems to be very comfortable around him. Both of them seem to be comfortable around each other. Nick feels relaxed around Priyanka. Both feel they can be themselves. So yeah, that element, they do seem to be, like, comfortable and relaxed with each other. Never really mad at each other. I hope this is the case because thus far I would have guessed, like, they would be, like, irritated with each other. We saw in the beginning there's a bit of irritation, but I guess, like, the whole element of them, they just feel that comfortable and relaxed with each other. And I guess like the whole element, both of them see each other as the ideal person. That would really soften that, I assume. Nick's moon is sextile Priyanka's Mercury. They have long conversations. They feel comfortable being open with each other. So yeah, this is a good thing. I'm trying to focus on the good things here. Mutual understanding. There's a friendship dynamic I think we saw before. Both like a busy environment, and they value the other's opinion and advice. Priyanka's moon at Trine Nick's Venus. There's a mutual appreciation of each other. I definitely see that. Easy to compromise. I'm glad that we're seeing some good in this relationship. I feel like the other readings go a bit different. Like it's all so good and then it goes downhill. I'm glad that we're sort of starting to like go up the hill. There's some positivity, some nice softening factors. Natural affection. They're a social couple. Supportive of each other during conflict. And they appreciate art together. Priyanka's moon is trine Nick's Saturn. Building on past traditions is important. They have a stable relationship. I mean, I kind of would have to disagree. I would say, like, thus far, I think it seems to be stable in terms of longevity. And it's consistently, but the quality of consistency, I wouldn't say is particularly stable, if that makes sense. Potential for accumulating wealth. Priyanka sees Nick as mature. Nick is accountable with Priyanka. Nick prioritizes domestic life. Nick's desire for commitment is appealing to Priyanka, so I assume that's why she would feel at ease around Nick. Like, she definitely seems to be able to, like, trust him, and he seems very loyal to her. Nick finds it difficult to be emotionally caring. Can achieve mutual long-term goals together. So now we're on to Mercury. So we have Nick's Mercury in Virgo and Priyanka's Mercury in Cancer. Conflict between Nick's realism and Priyanka's lack of it. I think we saw before, like, Nick gets a bit frustrated with her being a bit imaginative. Priyanka finds Nick snobby and selfish. Oh no. Nick is frustrated with Priyanka's impracticality. And I assume, like, he would also, because we saw in the beginning, like, he doesn't understand, like, her sadness. I assume he would, because he seems to be, like we just saw before, he finds it difficult to be emotionally caring. Maybe he sees her, like, times of sadness as, like, very impractical. Priyanka teaches Nick how to consider feelings. I hope so. Nick's Mercury in the Priyanka's 5th house overlay. Nick is like the sun to Priyanka, and Nick makes Priyanka's day. I see this, yeah, I see that from her end, but I also think this kind of would apply to him as well. Both encourage the other. There's easy communication. I would assume it's easy communication because they're never really mad at each other. We saw that before, and they're very comfortable with each other. It's not a boring relationship. Agreed. Priyanka's Mercury in Nick's 12th house. Priyanka has a sixth sense with Nick. Priyanka may feel overwhelmed around Nick. Nick may feel violated. Can easily become a paranoid relationship. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't... Yeah, we did see before, actually, like, there was no logical base for, like, a lack of... I'm reading off it now. No logical base for lack of trust and paranoia. We literally just saw that with the moon. But I find it interesting, like, how both of them seem to have some sort of trust issues in this relationship, because before it was on Nick's end that he feels a bit more paranoid, and now it seems to be more like Priyanka. Their intuition is strong. Nick's Mercury square Priyanka's Venus. They find each other interesting and attractive. I definitely see that. We saw that in the beginning. Don't understand each other's romantic ideas. That wouldn't surprise me. Mundane communication is difficult. Exchanging ideas is a source of conflict. Frequent disagreements. They need to learn to listen to each other. Yeah, there's this element in the relationship where, like, they really need that element of being patient, and they need to listen to each other, and they need to make it work. It doesn't come as easy for them. Difference in music taste. Nick's Mercury square Priyanka's Neptune. They think creatively around each other. They both need to be clearer with communication. Nick misunderstands Priyanka. I'm not surprised. Nick sees Priyanka as abstract. 100%. Priyanka sees Nick as practical and logical, probably why she feels he's very mature. Nick's trust for Priyanka fades. This paranoid thing in the relationship. Priyanka feels limited by Nick, and Priyanka feels misunderstood by Nick. I'm not surprised. He seems to be alright. It's just a lack of emotionness, I think, especially with her, who seems to be a bit more emotional. Priyanka's Mercury square Nick's Venus, so this is a repeated aspect, so Everything from the previous one is just further emphasized. Priyanka's Mercury opposite Nick's Uranus. Nick finds Priyanka's opinions as superficial or traditional. Did we see before how like this relationship is about building upon traditions? So I don't like that combination. Impatient with each other, I see that. Priyanka finds it hard to depend on Nick, I would say particularly emotionally. Stressful communication, interruptive conversations. Nick stimulates Priyanka mentally. Yeah, I think we did see before a few times, like they do have a bit of an intellectual relationship. They make impulsive decisions together. I wonder genuinely, I don't know too much about this couple. I know they got married, but I wonder how long they knew each other before they got married, because thus far, we've only seen a couple times. I don't even know if maybe it was just once. There's a bit of a friendship element, but I wonder how long it took how long they got to know each other before they got married, because they both seem to really view each other as the ideal person. We've seen a couple times from both ends before. But everything else seems to be a bit iffy. I wonder if they impulsively got married together, like they saw each other as the dream person, they were very attracted to each other, and I feel like them being comfortable with each other made them feel like they were compatible, but, which I mean, doesn't mean they're not. I just feel like, you know, with all the challenges of their relationship, and seeing them, they make impulsive decisions together, they see each other as the dream person. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, like, get married on a whim, or, like, they didn't know each other very well, or, you know, didn't have a very long relationship before getting married. Priyanka's Mercury opposite Nick's Neptune. Priyanka finds Nick vague and elusive. Nick finds Priyanka practical and logical. This is very unexpected. Priyanka's trust for Nick fades. Did we see this on the other side when Nick's trust for Priyanka fades? Nick feels misunderstood by Priyanka. They find each other intriguing initially. Frequent misunderstandings. It's difficult long term. Nick's communication is manipulative. I feel like we saw this before. There can be a bit of manipulative communication. That obviously comes from Nick's end. Priyanka sees Nick's spirituality as unrealistic. I wonder if it's because maybe he lacks emotion in it, but like we just saw before, like they, like the opposite thing of like, Nick finds Priyanka practical and Priyanka finds Nick vague. Priyanka's Mercury trine Nick's Pluto. They have deep conversations. I'm not surprised. There does seem to be a bit of a deeper element to this relationship, even though it's not the greatest. Revealing deep dark secrets here. It's a therapist-patient relationship. Healing negative beliefs about relationships. What relationships were they in previously? This. Get to the bottom of matters. Nick helps Priyanka open up her mind. They feel very close to each other. I'm not surprised. They do genuinely seem to be very comfortable with each other. Resolve difficult issues together. Priyanka is fascinated with Nick's depth. Nick appreciates Priyanka's humor and easygoing nature. That's nice. So now we're on to Venus. So we have Nick's Venus in Libra and Priyanka's Venus in Gemini, both air signs. They love talking, there's mutual respect, prioritize their social life. I'm pretty sure we saw before that they're a bit of a social couple. Nick does not feel romantically fulfilled here. Priyanka feels drained by Nick, and it's difficult to make decisions together. I find it interesting, like, they make impulsive decisions together. Maybe it's like, I feel like honestly, like maybe that's their way of making quality decisions together. And what I mean by that is, like, I feel like with the communication, like we saw before, they have a bit of stressful communication. Like, both of them seem to have very different views and takes on things. So I assume it's difficult for them to make decisions together where they need to actually think things out. But like impulsive decisions, let's go. Nick's Venus overlaid in Priyanka's 5th house. Nick sees Priyanka as perfect. We're going back to him really idolizing her. Nick is forgiving of Priyanka's faults. Priyanka appreciates the admiration from Nick. We're seeing again. Priyanka may take advantage of Nick. We saw before how, what was it? Like Nick is, oh no, both of them like take advantage of each other or something. No, both of them are selfishly ambitious, sorry. Both are satisfied here. I don't not see that, if that makes sense. Like, I personally, this relationship, reading this, stresses me out, but I feel like, I guess, like with them, they do have their like softening factors and they're in it where, you know, they both really idolize the other person and they both feel comfortable with each other. So, you know, it's hard to say. Like, from an outside perspective, I would say no, but I'm not surprised why they feel satisfied. Priyanka's Venus in Nick's 11th house. Priyanka immediately likes Nick. They're comfortable with each other. Nick senses he can be himself around Priyanka. They're good friends. They both share the same social activities and hobbies. And they are both open with each other. Yeah, all things that were repeated. Nothing I can add too much. Nick's Venus conjunct Priyanka's Mars. Intensity does not fade, which I'm not surprised, but like I wouldn't say it's in the most positive way, sorry. Romantic, emotional, and physical attraction. I see that. We keep seeing that both of them are attracted to each other. Petty arguments. Not surprising. They will always remember each other. I see that. They do seem to like have that love for each other. Know how to push each other's buttons, probably. Nick attracts Priyanka with his charm. Although, no offense to Nick, I don't think, like, because on Priyanka's end, she also seems to be very captivated by Nick naturally anyway. Nick's Venus conjunct Priyanka's Saturn. Priyanka stabilizes Nick's emotions. Priyanka feels responsible for Nick. I wonder, because I think the thing with them as well is, like, she is significantly older, or, like, a decent amount older than him. Maybe she, you know, feels that way because of the age gap. Nick may be restricted by Priyanka, always come back together. I'm not surprised. Painful but strong bond. Yes, I feel like this is the best way to put it. It's painful, but like it's so strong, you know. May demand too much from each other too soon. I feel like this aspect, or these last two particular points in the aspect, make perfect sense. I genuinely feel like they got married impulsively. Like they may demand too much from each other too soon. Demand may be a bit of a strong word, but I genuinely feel like they really didn't know each other well before they got married. Like, no way. Nick's Venus conjunct Priyanka's Pluto. Intensity constantly deepens. Not surprised. Manipulation of the other can occur. I think we're seeing again. Karmic, of course it is. There's a strong pull to each other. Yep. Deep emotional tie, and Priyanka can read Nick. I'm pretty sure we're seeing again, like we saw before, she has a bit of a sixth sense with him. Priyanka's Venus conjunct Nick's Mars, which is repeated but inverted. So all the things from before apply, but also Priyanka attracts Nick with her charm, which again, no offense to Priyanka, I don't think it would have taken much. Like with both of these two, like Priyanka's Venus square Nick's Jupiter. Priyanka feels more confident and attractive around Nick. I'm not surprised, we keep seeing this. Can find a happy way to share their life. Yeah, unfortunately, yes. Nick may be irritated with Priyanka's possessiveness. We didn't really see that before, so interesting. I mean, we have been seeing the whole, they're both paranoid of each other, so I guess, like, this would be, like, on Priyanka's end, she may be a bit paranoid about, like, Nick going around, possibly. We haven't seen anything like that, but just, like, with her, you know, Nick being irritated with her possessiveness, that could be a potential fear of hers based off of that. So now on to Mars. So we have Nick's Mars in Cancer and Priyanka's Mars in Libra. Passive-aggressive relationship. Relationship is slow to start. My theory on this relationship, I hope I'm right, because I'm gonna seem very silly. Because, like, we did see the friendship aspect a couple times. I assume maybe they were, like, friends, but, like, I genuinely feel like once they got, like, into a more romantic relationship or more physical relationship, whatever it was, I feel like they really sped up. Like, it was very rushed to, like, the marriage part, because, like, there's no way. Like, I keep saying this and I keep seeing this, like, they had to have gotten married, like, super quick or not really known each other very well before they got married. Both avoid confrontation. Nick finds it easy to manipulate Priyanka. What in the... Oh, I saw that before. Like, I can't even be surprised, can I? Work through conflict together smoothly. I only think this and agree with this because they seem to, like, have a lot of softening factors. They don't seem to, like... I know, like, we see constantly they get irritated with each other, I don't feel like they get genuinely irritated with each other. Nick likes the idea of having a baby with Priyanka. I think we saw before they have desire to have children together. Priyanka is an equal, Nick is submissive. Nick's Mars in Priyanka's second house. Nick triggers Priyanka's possessiveness, so I guess she is possessive and that's why she's a bit paranoid. Priyanka is more materialistic in this relationship. I'm pretty sure we saw in the beginning, like, we did see how both of them are subconsciously more use each other. What was it? They're both more selfishly ambitious, sorry. So, and I think we did see as well, like, wealth is accumulated in this marriage, so probably where where Priyanka becomes more materialistic. Nick is patient with Priyanka, we keep seeing. Nick is sentimental with Priyanka. Nick treats her as an object. Priyanka tends to be more masculine in this relationship. Maybe it's connected to, we just saw like how Priyanka is an equal, Nick is the submissive one. Priyanka's Mars in Nick's third house overlay. Priyanka is more blunt around Nick. Nick may intimidate Priyanka. I'm not surprised. I think we saw in the beginning she's a bit more like, you know, anxious around him. He's a bit exotic and strange. She feels like he doesn't approve of her, I think it was. Nick is sensitive to Priyanka's intensity. Nick's Mars, Trine Priyanka's Jupiter. They feel they can do anything together. Priyanka is okay with Nick asserting himself. There's healthy competitiveness, they have fun together, and they're a lucky couple. Enjoy trying new things together. They've shared interests in sports and travel. Priyanka helps Nick get out of his comfort zone. Did we see before how she feels a bit responsible for him? Nick feels more energized around Priyanka and possibly a reckless relationship. I'm telling you, I feel like they got married quickly. I don't know why that's coming to my head and it keeps staying in my head. Genuinely. Priyanka's Mars squared Nick's Neptune. Circumstances in meeting were never understood by one of the partners. Yeah, I never... Besides the whole getting married quickly thing, I see that because, like, with their meeting, I feel like there could be a possibility, because we did see a couple times, like, you know, friendship factors. You know, maybe they were friends first, but I also wouldn't be surprised because that didn't come up as frequently. So maybe they did just, like, get rushed into this. And they need honesty to make this work. So my final thoughts, I have a headache. This relationship, genuinely, I don't even know what to say. So as I kept saying in this reading, genuinely, like, as I just said, like, circumstances in meeting were never understood by one of the partners. It's also not understood by me. Maybe you guys can have a bit of a different opinion, interpret all of this a bit differently, but genuinely, I feel like it could have gone either way, because, like, as I said, we did see a couple of friendship aspects, but, like, at the same time, it genuinely could have been very rushed. I really feel they married very quickly, or somewhat quickly, or they didn't know each other very well before they get married, didn't know each other for very long. Like, I feel like they rushed into the whole marriage bit for some reason. And this relationship is just very interesting because I feel a bit tense, honestly, like, doing this reading, like, there's just, it doesn't seem very, I don't want to say it doesn't seem healthy, there's just a bit of this relationship seems very tiring. It's like, what was that one thing? Painful but strong bond. It feels very painful. That's it. I don't know. For me, anyway, this, like, was a pain to get through. And I feel like there were a bit of, like, you know, suspicious things of, like, both of them seem to, like, we literally saw both of them selfishly ambitious in this relationship. Both of them seem to have weird intentions in this relationship, or weird reasons to be in this relationship. And there is the whole, like, it's a bit of a paranoid relationship from both ends, but they also have this, like, real deep attraction for each other. Like, they both seem to really like each other. They're both very comfortable with each other. Like, so that really softens it. Like, if you think someone's your soulmate, like, that would definitely, like, you know, everything else would, like, sort of, like, pale in comparison to that. And yeah, I feel like throughout the reading, I expressed my frustration. Yeah. So yeah, I think that will be all from me today. I'm gonna go have a nice nap, a nice cup of water, and have a nice relaxed time after this reading. And yeah, if you did like this video, give this a like. Your thoughts would be appreciated on this one because I have no idea what to think. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye! This video is brought to you by my Etsy store, Adeline the Astrologer. Check it out for personalized Synastry chart readings and monthly transit tarot readings. Link in the description.